Guys, welcome back to Coliseum Forum. Today I am joined by one of my personal heroes, role models, the guy I wanted to be at 9 years old and still today influencing people to be better. I mean, the greatest living Power Ranger of all time, bar none, hands down, despite what you may have heard, Mr. Jason David Frank. How are you doing today, sir?
Thank you. Doing good. It's more for time, everyone.
There you go.
Hey, first of all, Billy, I appreciate the introduction. I appreciate you having me on here, and I want to thank you guys. And I always say this to every media outlet and the fans. If it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be here today. So I want to thank everyone watching, everyone in your position, your team, producers, everyone to make this possible because I think it's such a great platform right now to reach so many people. So that's why I do every interview at every Comic-Con, regardless of who you are and what you do. Same thing when I reached out to you. I was like, hey, I thought you had great charisma. Your Q&As are great, and I want to be part of it. So thanks for having me. And team behind the scenes, thank you for having me too.
So I just want to point out, I know I have some friends and family watching this because I've been super stoked about this since you reached out to me. You heard what he said, right? I'm good at Q&A. I'm charismatic. Like forevermore, the Green Ranger said this. So I just want to have that on the record.
It's true.
So
I mean, I've been interviewed a lot, and I'm just so you guys know, I'm at my tattoo. I gave James this Green Ranger helmet. I'm at the tattoo shop right now in Shreveport, Louisiana, at 13 Dagger, and I wanted to be home because I got this really cool office. But hey, at least we got the Green Ranger helmet, and I'm just happy to be here. So if you see some drawings on the wall and all that stuff, this is my buddy's office that I'm using for right now. So thank you, James, 13 Dagger, for letting me use your office.
so you're at 13 Daggers, and that's in we're at in Louisiana,
I probably say it wrong.
Shreveport.
Shreveport. Yeah.
Okay, so if you guys are looking to get tatted, there you
I
go.
was here. I used to go to Corpus Christi all the time to get tatted with James. And we were talking earlier. He's known me for 15 years. He's done all my tattoos. I got my little girl on here, Jenna. He tatted too. So he's a personal family friend. So I pretty much drive to wherever my tattoo artist goes. There's a lot of people that are like, "Hey, I got this tattoo for free." Yeah, it's not good, bud.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
anyway, you put something on the body, you got to make sure you go. So anyway, I part of my PPP program was also out in this area too, the Excalibur and all that. So he fit out here, and he's moved from Corpus out here. So I used to drive 3-4 hours to get a tattoo and drive 3-4 hours back, and that's what I'm doing today with my daughter Jenna. So she's here as well. So, but anyway, I'm glad we got a chance to finally hook up, and it was short. It was a short amount of time, so I'm happy.
Yeah. I mean, I think you emailed me like on Monday is when I got the email, and then
Yeah.
it's Thursday, so 4 day turnaround is pretty quick for setting up an interview, especially with like you with Jason David Frank. So
Well, it's great, man. And again, I got a lot of texts to watch some of your content back and forth. So the reason why I hooked up with you all is, like I said, I tuned in, I watched some of the stuff, and I want to say my side of the story, the Green Ranger, about auditions and Power Rangers and Angel Grove. So I saw you, and I said, hey, man, this is a good guy to reach out to, just because I really like your questions, the way you handled yourself, and I had no clue that what you do, what you run, and I know we'll talk about later coming out there and being part of your program. But for everyone watching out there, this is what I think life is all about. You don't look at numbers. You don't look at how many people, how many subscribers, how many of this. You look at the person. And when you help someone, just the kindness of your heart, things always come back. So even though reaching out to you, just saying, hey, I want to do an interview, next thing we'll all be signing up, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. So that all like connected well together. And I guess just being positive and, I always say you have the 4 Ps, which is a purpose in life, which I think I had a purpose of being the Green Ranger, which I was very passionate about it. We're going to talk about passion, why I stayed on the show. And we had patience, and we'll talk about when I did VR Troopers and turned into the White Ranger. And then last on the list for me, and this is for you guys as well, is profit. You can't make profit on any kind of show, YouTube, without the other 3 Ps. And that's what I did on Power Rangers. I had a purpose. I think it was my gift to go out there and reach people again. So I had the purpose and the passion of doing what I do. is always, and the patience of waiting to see what's going to happen to a character that was only supposed to be in 14, 15 episodes and was going to be out. And then last on my list is profit. And that's in any business I do. And if you focus on those 3 P's, the last P will always be there for you. You just can't skip the first 3 and say, this is what I want to do for profit, because you will fail. That is the truth.
I mean, that makes sense. I mean, it's wise advice. So let's jump into the interview. Before we get started, we do have Zeke is watching. Apparently it's his birthday. So happy birthday, Zeke. Thanks for joining us today.
Happy birthday, Zeke. Happy birthday, buddy.
So let's kind of pick off, I've talked to David Felding and some of the other Rangers. I know you kind of came in after everybody else, right? I mean, the pilot had already been shot. They knew, okay, we're doing Power Rangers. And then you go in and I guess you had interviewed for VR Troopers originally, right? It wasn't even VR Trooper. It was called like Cybertron.
I'm gonna set you up. The
story time
timeline of and we're gonna sum this up to the, I had karate schools. My brother Eric Ray Frank, who played David Trueheart. So I got this whole life of being 18. I had my first job at 13. I was a busboy. I got Employee of the Month. I had 18 jobs by the time I was 18, from and always in the karate school. That was my main, is the karate school. Right. Literally probably $25 a month, clean the mats, do the mirrors, and pay for your training. And then I had jobs from, being a busboy, like, getting Employee of the Month, to pizzas, to mowing yards, to working at Kmart, to working at a nursery, naming flowers and all this other stuff. So for me, it was always about trying, I wouldn't say, hustle, but I believe that people need to work and you need to stay busy. Fast forward 18. The pilot was already out. There was a pilot that was already out. And I guess at this time, the Yellow Ranger pulled out. Whoever played the original Yellow Ranger in the pilot, she pulled out. So we'll go into the time and the purpose and the passion and the patience of how I got this role. I wouldn't get a role if I had tattoos, number one. I went into an agency and I had long hair. And I won't mention the agency's name, but I went into the agency, I had long hair. I said, hey, all right, kids management, whatever. I went in there and I said, hey, I really want to be an actor. And they looked at me and they said, Jason, you got great charisma, but you need to cut your hair and you need to take out your earrings, because you're never going to get a role like that. You have to clean up your image. And I had long hair my whole life growing up as a kid. That was like, I felt like that was my power,
Sure.
My instructor, Chris Casamassa, by the way, he played the original Scorpion in the Mortal Kombat movie.
Okay.
So we came from an organization called Red Dragon Karate. We had 28 locations. Every 3 miles, we were like McDonald's, but we trained. It took forever to get a black belt. There was no testing fees, and we dominated the circuit. So I was a national rated competitor in fighting, breaking, katas, you name it. So I'm already a martial artist. I'm already, on the circuit. I'm already winning. And by that time, Mike Chat, if you know who Mike Chat is legit so good at martial arts. And I always shout out to you, Mike. He was a Blue Ranger on a different season. So at this time in Hollywood, there wasn't a lot of, I would say, I say it worded in the right way, a lot of actors that knew martial arts. There was a lot of actors that said they knew martial arts because it was on their resume. Now, the show's already been casted. So they're looking for a Yellow Ranger, and I guess they're adding a new Ranger, which was the Green Ranger. So I go into this agency, and I cut my hair right away. I showed up the next day, and it was wrenching, like, oh, I got to cut my hair. Cut my hair, took my earrings out, and I came up and I said, hey, I'm ready to work. Like, I'm ready to get in an audition. And this is where persistence comes in. This is another P, persistence and believing in yourself. And I went there and they said, sorry, man, I don't have time. Literally, they gave me the hand. I'm on a Coca-Cola commercial. Ooh. I'm booking a commercial. And I stood there with one of my guys and I said, okay, well, look, I cut my hair. I did everything you said. I want to be represented. They said, we don't have time. We don't have time. So now this is where the persistence came in. I believed in myself and I called you out and said, hey, you said you're going to represent me. You're supposed to be a man of your word. And I need something. Like, I'm probably not going away until I get something. Frantically searched around and said, okay, this is my samurai. I got drawn on my arm, my tattoo anyway. But he said, okay, here's an audition. And I looked at it and it was called Phantoms. And he said, we're even. And I said, okay. So I read the script and it was actually, they used Walter's character. He was already casted, but they used his character because they didn't have any Tommy lines. So I got a script called Phantoms, and basic lines. I read Zordon. I read all. I had no clue. I knew it was a ranger, a Green Ranger,
Right.
and I thought it was a Forest Ranger. I had no clue what was going on.
Right.
I literally, no lie, I'm doing karate. I'm winning national champions, and I think, okay, now I'm gonna go and I'm gonna fight with Smokey the Bear. That's it. I'm the Ranger. Texas Ranger didn't exist back then.
Right.
So I go there and I had to get a fax. It was the fax. They faxed more paperwork, and I was at my karate school because I owned a school. I owned a school before just about when I was 18.
Okay.
And I sold my whole comic book collection that I loved for my franchise fee. So comic books are gone now. I believe in myself. I have a karate school. He gives me the audition. I have to go run next door to get a fax. So I run next door, get a fax, slip, kind of cracked my foot a bit. And I was in San Dimas, and I never forget, kids that don't know what a fax machine is. It makes very strange noises. And then a little paper comes out, and you get it. So anyway, that's not even part of the story, but I was injured, and the doctor said, man, you got to fix your foot. And I said, I have no time for that. So I went right into an audition, and I was sitting up there, and I saw very limited. I'm not talking a lot of people. I saw hardly any guys there. But who I did see was people dressed in gis and their belts were tied wrong. So again, a true martial artist is one that never brags and one that never talks. So I went in there. I used to compete. I looked around and I said, oh, in my head, his belt's tied wrong. Looking at these guys do karate. Oh, he stinks. I'm thinking in my head, I got this. This is something that I'm going to go in there and I'm going to read these lines. Yeah, I had cotton mouth. I was, worried, scared a little bit. Acting was, something I always wanted to do my whole life. And this is my shot. You get one shot. And I had a few auditions before, but I nailed this audition. So I didn't have to go through thousands of auditions.
Right.
So I go in there and I say my lines, and they said, good. Can you come back tomorrow? And I asked a little bit more about the show, and they had a pilot. They already shot a pilot, and I didn't know exactly what a pilot was. So I asked, and they said, well, it's a pilot. You film, and that's when, Austin, all those guys rent it, and another Yellow Ranger that I did not know. And the pilot will come up in a little bit to actually watch it. So I had no clue what was going on. I went back the next day with a ton of girls. There was like 20 girls. Now, I'm the only guy that got called back, so it's me. Like, I killed the audition. I went in there, I said my lines, and then no one's heard of those ki before, because a ki is not ki. If you're, a true martial artist, a ki is from the inside. That helps tighten up your stomach.
Yeah.
So when I would see people in the audition go, ki, I said, they're not a real martial artist. So anyway, I went in there and there was like 20 girls.
Can I actually interrupt you really quickly? Because that's something I wanted to ask you about. When everybody on the show, when they're fighting in a lot of it, I know you guys did an ADR where you did voiceover, but your fight, I don't know what you would call them, your fighting sounds are very distinct. And listen, I've been imitating them since I was 9 years old, but it's yeah, right? That's you. Yep. Where does that come from?
Yep. Well, so the ki came from my instructor. And as an instructor, there's a lot of schools that teach you move, hiya. Move, hiya. So we used to compete, and I was the judge, and people would come up quietly, Ki! And I would be like, oh, Lord. So the ki are, I can't tell a student where a ki because you have to feel it. Because martial arts is the moment you perceive your opponent to draw his sword, you attack. And I can't tell you, okay, Billy, when you block ki. So the ki's are free will. So I developed, my school, and any martial artist out there, you have to be a free will artist to ki. So if someone's attacking you, Billy, and they're grabbing, you're not going to go, ki. That's the movies. Someone's grabbing you. This is the stuff. So it comes from the bottom of your stomach. And so I already went in there with these ki's that were distinctive ki's that I came from Red Dragon Karate, Chris Casamassa, all these guys, Mike Chatt, who was the Blue Ranger, Mike Bernardo, Rich Brandon, Larry Lamb, who actually is one of the biggest stunt coordinators for Deadpool and the new Power Ranger movie. These are guys that I trained with, I competed with, so it was natural for me. Well, and I'll go to the story and we'll talk about the ki. So I go in there with 20 girls in there.
Right.
Saban and everyone said, hey, we think you're great. And I was like, well, do I have the role? Or, they said, we need you to go out there and pick a girl, and we need you to teach her a routine, because when you come in, you got to do a routine. So most actors don't know what to do. They're 1, 2. I mean, I have katas left and right. At that time, young black belt, I was young master at 4th degree black belt at that time. I could do any moves anytime, and I can entertain you from 30 seconds to 5 minutes of nonstop action. The problem is these girls were coming in and they were doing one move, and Saban was like, we can't really see their karate skills. And I said, well, a lot of them don't have skills. They don't train. He goes, go pick someone. So I picked Twee. I said, hey, let me teach you a routine. And her style that I wanted to teach her, because it was easier, is just to flow, really, really flow the motion. So I picked her. And someone that represented her agent said, go in there, jump on the table and own it. And she literally went in there, jumped on the table, owned it, and did this routine that I helped her and showed her, and we both got hired. Now, I'll go into the pilot. We both got hired. I have no clue what's going on. I heard they said Green Ranger, and I said, oh, don't know what that is. And it was already casted. I don't know what the other cast, they went through. I guess Dave, I did talk to Dave. He did do like 3 auditions. I guess he did audition for the Red Ranger. I never did.
When you say Dave, you mean casted. David Yost, the original Blue Ranger.
Yeah, I guess he auditioned 3 times. Me, I auditioned once, and it was like, how can I audition for the Red Ranger when the series was already going? They already filmed the pilot. So that's like a rumor on the internet, and I know other people talk about it, but that's incorrect. And so anyway, I talked to Dave because he's like my best friend on the show, and it's been 27 years, so I always get, an idea of what he does. Now, these guys were hired, so now I get a pilot, and I'm hired, but I don't know what's going on. So I get a pilot, we turn in the pilot, and I hear those ki-eyes, Billy. I hear the ki-eye, hi-ya, and I go, ugh. Oh my God, what? Like, this is cool. I'm super excited about doing it, but all the ki-eyes change after 14 episodes of Tommy, put it that way. People change their ki-eyes. Go watch the show. You'll see it. The first episodes when I came in. I played it for my brother. I was so excited. I don't know what Power Rangers is. I can't get an agent because everyone thinks this is the biggest joke. Right. Don't take the role. It's going to bomb. So I turn in the pilot, and my brother's watching. I never forget, he watches it, and the credits roll. And he goes, that was dumb. And I'm like, he's my older brother. He played David Trueheart. It wasn't dumb when he was on Zeo playing David Trueheart. Right. But I was like, I don't know, man. I think it's cool. Everyone's saying it's cheesy. I teach kids around the world. I was a famous martial arts instructor. And so I figured out if I can just get on TV and do my karate and connect with these kids, maybe I can, teach more kids around the world. So I was hired. It was my first day on set. They were filming already because the Green Ranger didn't come in for a while. So they were filming episode 1, 2, 3. So I'd show up on set early, and I got my costume. I went in there and they said, you're the Green Ranger. And green wasn't the best color 27 years ago. I mean, you didn't see like green cars. Right. Rick Ross didn't have a green Gucci suit. I mean, green didn't really, but I looked at it and I saw it and I said, oh man. And then I saw the shield that was never made proper to match the Japanese footage, by the way. Right. So I saw the American version shield, and I went in and introduced myself. We had too many Jasons on the show. I know Austin's real name is Jason Geiger. We had Jason Narby, now Jason Frank. So I went in, and he changed his name to Austin St. John, which made things a little bit easier. But the DP who would film would always call me Tommy to avoid any kind of confusion. Right. Tommy, hit your mark. Tommy. So I went in there as Tommy. Now I go in there, and Haim Saban, I'm working. I'm killing it. I'm doing the ki-eyes. The first episode, guys, Isaac Florentine. I give Isaac Florentine much credit. The first episode that's changed the season number 1 was the fight scene with Tommy in the alley. Yeah. We shot that in vignettes. We did little cuts, and then we did the trash can lid, and then we did the quick looks. That was the first fight scene that changed the game for Power Rangers. Right. So go do the research and watch the fights, and then watch Tommy's alley fight, and then the ki-eyes. Then everything started changing. People started doing the ki-eyes correct. It was anyway. So that all changed. So now I'm doing it, and I'm ready to be written off the show. And I studied this just before, Billy, when I came in, because I was very interested of, it's been such a long time ago. Tommy's been in, I think they on Wikipedia or someone, about 10 variations of Power Rangers.
Right.
My character.
Yeah.
So I'm doing it, and I go in the alley, I do this cool fight scene, and now Haim Saban meets me and says, hey, good news, bad news. Bad news is we ran out of Japanese footage for the Green Ranger, and you're coming up to the end. And I said, okay, well, I knew this from the beginning, so I'll go back and I'll just keep doing #1 karate schools, because that's what I was good at, and that's what I know. He goes, but you're going to get your own show, and it's going to be next door, and it's called Cybertron. And he built a whole studio next door. Now, there was a lot of drama on set, and I'll make the record reflect. At that time, I never wanted to leave the show for these simple reasons, Billy. I already talked about all the P's, the purpose, the passion, the patience. I didn't care about profit. What I needed was structure in my life.
Right.
I stayed there for structure. So the money, and being the Green Ranger, I had a different deal than everyone else. I mean, I came in different. I came in after the contracts. People can say whatever. Favored Nation, I didn't care about the money. I really didn't. I was just so happy to come in on set and go, like you, I know they're not paying you a ton of money, Billy, to do this. This is why I'm doing it.
Sure.
If they said, Billy, do you want to do an interview with Jason David Frank? And you said, I need $1 million. They'll say, okay, Billy, bye.
Right.
And they'll put someone else in.
Sure.
And plus it's not about money. So anyway, I wanted to move to Cybertron. I was like, I just want to get my own studio. I don't want no drama. I already felt weird coming in as the leader, not the leader. I came in weird coming in as the Green Ranger. Super cool costume. I'm a new kid. I don't know what people think. I don't know. I just did my job.
Right.
So when I went to Cybertron, it was exciting. And so I filmed the pilot. Now the show Power Rangers is still a network show even to this day. It's never been off the air.
Right.
But Cybertron's called what's called syndicated. I know I talk a lot. I'm just trying to explain to everyone.
No.
The syndication is they'll sell it to channel 55, sell it to channel 14, 22. It'll all be around the world at different times. You can never find. VR Troopers was syndicated. That's why it was lost. It wasn't like really a network show. So I sold it, and based off this, Jason David Frank, the most popular Ranger, the Green Ranger, is now doing kind of like a copy of Power Rangers, like a VR Troopers for studios.
Yeah.
So all the studios said, man, you got yourself a hit. Yes, we're going to do it. So I started doing that. Back it up 8 years. They tried doing a pilot. Mark Dacascos is a friend of mine. He did, John Wick. He was the lead bad guy. He was actually the Red Ranger in the Power Ranger pilot in 1986. So he did Bioman.
That was the one that Stan Lee tried to develop, right?
In 86, I'm not too sure, but Saban did have his hands in this project for a very long time.
Right.
They turned it down. You can listen to Haim Saban's story. I don't care what anyone says about Haim Saban. Yes, he is a businessman, and we can't blame him for being greedy in this. He brought Power Rangers to life. If it wasn't for him, you couldn't complain. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So Haim got turned down 8 times until Fox Network, Margaret Loesch, picked up the show. Now, if you listen to Haim's podcast, Haim came from selling pencils to the most richest man in Hollywood at that time.
Right.
He bought Fox Kids Network. I mean, he dominated, and that's a whole nother story. So I have much respect for Haim being a businessman. Did he pay everyone the proper ways? I know I got taken care of, and that's fine. And I wasn't there for the profit. I was there for stability. So when I went to Cybertron, they said, okay, here's the good news and the bad news. I said, oh, Lord. What's the bad news? You're not going to get your own studio, and we're not doing Cybertron. We're turning it into VR Troopers, a 3-man type of TV show. And I said, okay, that's bad news. What's the good news? We need you back on Power Rangers. We need you back. Kids around the world are calling Fox, and it's a liability on our hands. It's not that choose, it's liability.
Absolutely.
You made a lot of people sad. Parents are saying, calling the studio, saying they're not going to eat. They're not going back to school until they see Tommy. Now, I think I'm blessed, man. I was in 14 episodes. So it was not a promotion. It was because my character was popular, and I came back as the White Ranger. Now, at that time, I truthfully say that I wasn't trying to be the leader. It just found me. Leadership found me, because in life, I feel like leading in my martial arts schools. I lead by passion. So it was very awkward to do table reads and have my first. We don't do table reads anymore. But when we did a table read, when Tommy had to say it's morphin' time, things didn't go very well in the table read. And I didn't care about the line. I said, well, y'all can say your lines. I don't really, it's okay. So we didn't have table reads anymore. So when we would get the scripts, we would get them, you know, week by week, and I would read the scripts, and I was happy and blessed to be there. Talking to Dave and Amy, you know, there was a division among cast members. Some cast members wanted to make it better. They wanted to make it union, whatever they wanted to do. You have to understand, I wasn't there for that. I was there for stability in my life. I was happy. I was proud. I was like a superhero.
Yeah,
I didn't
absolutely.
care about the money. I didn't even, and when other people left, guess who got paid more by not asking? I did. And when it came to Turbo, we'll talk about this. And I know you got questions, and I hate talking all the time.
No, that's okay. You're getting us caught up.
Okay, so we're doing that. I came back as the White Ranger. The movie comes up.
Yeah.
You know, we got paid decent money for the movie, but I'm not looking at the money. I'm looking at, are we working? Is the show on again? Yeah, my White Ranger, cool. The suits are awesome. We're kids. We're going to Australia. And I really feel at this time, when people complain about making money, I can truthfully say 1 year in my Power Ranger career, I wrote an IRS check for $212,000. And I never told anyone that. But the reason why I'm telling you that is when I wrote that check, I was like, this is a house. That's when I realized I got money in the bank. Maybe I should buy a house. And I bought a house in cash. I went to go, you know, through the money. I went to go buy a car. No one helped me. No one gave me service until I said, I want to buy the car. And this, you going to finance it? No, I'm just going to pay for it. Wrote a check. They're like, who is this guy? You know, so I never looked at my bank account. I looked at more of the blessings and who I was on the show. So when it came to the movie, you know, I did the movie, and they picked one character to travel around the world and promote the movie. And I went to Germany. I went to Israel. I went to France. I went everywhere. Meanwhile, the other Rangers went to like New York. You know, we did the TV guide cover. It just happened to be Tommy Oliver's on the TV guide cover. So it was a lot of uncomfortable that taking this Tommy and putting him on a pedestal. But I felt like Tommy character, and I deserved it because I worked hard. I stayed loyal, and it wasn't about money. So I never auditioned for the Red Ranger. I wasn't there for any kind of money. Now, I will say I love Walter. I love all the guys. I love everybody. But we each have a different purpose of why we're there. Maybe they were there for money. Maybe
Sure.
people at cons are there for that. I still don't charge anything at cons. If you want to buy something, you can. If you don't, you don't. But maybe my reasons are different from when I grew up on the streets and growing up. I was just happy and blessed. And I do find it kind of rude in any industry, especially now during quarantine, to complain about life and I wasn't paid proper, and I wasn't just be happy and blessed that you got a job. And I was so happy and blessed. I was a superhero.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what led me into the show. Now into Turbo, the time goes on. I'm working hard. Yeah. 6 days a week. Yes.
So this is like 1997 now when we get to Turbo.
Yeah. So we're moving forward and we're working hard. It is hard. I'm the longest character that existed in the Power Ranger brand. And I hate saying this way, but I'm an A3 black belt. I can work. I have discipline. I know how to continue the work ethics and hold myself on a high standard at Comic-Cons. I work for myself. You don't work for agents. You don't work for managers. Therefore, when you can't take a picture with someone, you can't blame the manager and agent.
Right.
You're the boss. And so I'm the boss. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so anyway, we go to Turbo. A lot of cast members never met Haim. Ever met Haim. And I said, oh, I'm hearing a lot of stuff. I said, well, I'm going to be a hero. I'm going to go in and I'm going to tell Haim, hey, you need to get on set. People are kind of talking. No one's ever met you. People are calling me the golden boy. I don't really like it. Go to set and meet everyone. And he said, no, I don't have to. And he said, you come in here to get more money. I'll pay you more money. And it offended me. And I said, no, I'm not here for money. And I'm leaving because I'm here for a pat on the back.
Right.
That's how I work. I work on a pat on the back. And if you're not going to see the other cast and pat them on the back, I don't want to work for someone with you because I've worked so hard and long, and I feel that that's the least you can do. So I quit. I got quit because I got offered more money. And people don't understand that. But see, I have values, Billy. On the end of the day, I want to rest my head and feel like I'm not sold out. Right. You know what I mean? So when I left, Haim Saban said, if you leave, we will end up firing everyone in due time. And that was a lot of pressure on me. But I feel and anyone out there, kids or anyone, when you leave a show, please give written notice. When you leave, give written notice, because when people just quit, it makes it very hard for me to work harder. We had to get stunt doubles. We had to get matching shirts, and it just became really hard for me at that time. So I told Saban, I'm going to leave with decency. I'm going to leave with integrity, and I'm going to pass the torch to whoever you want me to pass it to.
Sure.
And it's not, sometimes in movies, it doesn't happen. I wanted to leave the show while the show was number one, because I have top karate schools, and I'm going to go back. And I never left acting to think that I was bigger and better and I'm going to have a bigger career.
Right.
I just left and went back to my number one karate schools. And then time goes by. Oh, can you still see me?
Yeah, you're still there.
Okay. You left there, but time goes by, and now all of a sudden Disney buys the show. Let me see. I kind of went small there. I'll keep it here. Disney bought the show, and I just see a little box. Anyway, so Disney bought the show, and over a period of time, the show kind of went downhill a little bit. The show, lost ratings. Disney put it on the back burner, and then all of a sudden, Doug Sloan and Ann Knapp, who I worked really good with, who we did a pilot called Sirens, who was with Fergie and a bunch of Brad Hawkins. We did a pilot called Sirens, and Doug Sloan was trying to get this started. So I was really close to Doug Sloan and Ann Knapp. So they did the dyno, and they said, hey, we really need you to come back to boost up the ratings. And I thought about it. Now it's owned by Disney. Same thing. I wasn't worried about the money. I said, if I go back, I want Favored Nations, because I'm not going to go back as the golden boy. I'm not here for money. Bring me back Favored Nation. They said, oh, that's fine. You don't need to go. We're happy to pay you that kind of money. And it was, it was what it was. I have karate schools, doing great. So I went back. Billy, I couldn't get one interview. People were saying, is Power Rangers still on? Or are you still on the air and all that stuff? And I said, yeah, we're still on. And people are like, oh, let it go and all this. So I really tried for the brand time and time again to come back for the brand. And see if I can bring you in the window. Sorry, man. Sorry, guys. Technical issue on I'm just going to continue. I don't see ability. Forgive me. So I go back. I try to boost up the ratings. That didn't happen. So I've been loyal to the brand for so long. But you have to understand, I'm not loyal to Haim Saban. Right. I'm not loyal to the money. I'm loyal to my fans.
Right.
And anytime my fans want to see me come back, I went back. You guys looking at money situations, man, sometimes you'd be like, Jason, you did that for us? Yeah. It wasn't about money. How many times did Tommy return? It wasn't about money. I could show you things. You'd be like, oh, really? I did 3 Bat in the Sun. I did this. I did that. I did so much stuff that I was just there for the fans, and I was happy to be there. And then, that's why I returned in so many different seasons, is because every time I returned to a season, I really wanted to see a fan go, oh my God, there's Tommy Oliver. Like, what the heck? And then a lot of hardcore fans kept saying, well, bring someone else in. Let me tell you, from day one, I've been on a lot of reunions. Those contracts go out in order of who you are and what seasons you're at. So when contracts go out, people pass. Everyone had that opportunity. Austin, Amy, everybody had that opportunity. And of course, maybe it's not union, whatever their situation is, that's their situation. But I always went back. And it was me and Font, Forever Red, me and Font. We came back. So anytime, something came in, we were there. And I just wanted to see the fans' reactions. Well, when Beast Morphers came around, Chip called and was like about Tommy. And I said, oh, man, and I'm not saying that they called to choose me or choose Austin. I think they should have called and made the episode longer, get some of the originals and make it a 4-part series, or do it a little bit bigger. And it's just not enough time in an episode for all this epicness to happen.
Right.
So I just, it was one of those things where I figured Tommy, and I told the fans, great, let Austin come back, let the Red Ranger. That's about time the brand gets a little bit of that love. But at that time, it was like, during that time, I started with Moshi, AFO. I started my first show. I did that show for free. I didn't really care. I, signed autographs, and I have a standard back then. I was the first Ranger to really pave this way of Comic-Cons. And then it became, I think, a money thing for Comic-Cons. It really became an issue where people were asking. So I said, look, I'm not charging y'all. Give me a table. If you want stuff, you can. If not, you don't have to get anything.
Yeah.
And that's been my reputation for many years. So I've been, doing the conventions because I kind of wanted to look at Comic-Cons. I sold my whole comic book collection to buy my first franchise karate school.
Absolutely.
So I wanted to look around. I never got a chance to look around. And people ask, well, how did the Comic-Con career get started? I'll tell you, you need to invest in yourself. And that's what I'm doing in the PPP program.
Yeah, so
Comic-Con.
Let's jump into the PPP.
Pull you up real quick. Oh, there you are.
Okay.
So the PPP program it's the Power Ranger Protection Program, which is when all this quarantine stuff happened, I said, oh man, how can I help? This payroll protection program didn't help anyone, maybe for a month or two. That's it. And we got businesses. So I just, as a Power Ranger myself, not speaking for the whole team, I figured I want to help save comic shops. I want to, for me, healthy, mentally, I want to get out of my head. How can I do this safe? So me and my team created a JDF PPP safety rules. And so my theory was, I'm gonna call you and say, hey Billy, you have a comic shop. I don't care how big, how small, you have a comic shop. I'm gonna pay my own way. I'm gonna come there. If people want to buy, they can. If they don't have to. And then on the end of the program, I'm gonna donate some of my money back into the shop. And there was one shop that went in, paying my own way, signing $4,000 or $5,000, even $10,000 in merchandise, and then giving them $2,000 on the way out. It's a win-win. Like, who would do that?
Right.
And but this goes back to the comic book convention. When I did New York Comic Con, they didn't want me there. They said, no, you don't have a name. We'll keep you there for an hour. We'll put Jason David Frank on it. And I got like $5,000. And I don't really care. And I'm going up against everyone telling me that I don't have the fan base. And spent my money and walked in and saw this empty table. I was walking down this row of tables, and it was a wrenching in my heart as, man, I really failed. But you fail, you try again. So I walk in and I said, okay, I'm thinking you guys are right. They wouldn't even put Green Ranger on the website. And I said, give me a pen. And they said, no, that's not your line. That is your line. And the line went so far, a 6-hour line,
right,
that's how the whole comic book convention started. And everyone's like, oh, who booked you? How did you do? I'm like, I paid my own way to pave this way
right,
into the comic market for one reason, Billy, mental stability. So when this quarantine thing came up, I'm always engaged with my fans. I always engage. I've never changed. Quarantine hasn't changed me. I got trainmejdf.com that you could train on a website. Guess what? Celebrating 6 years. It wasn't during quarantine. This stuff, I haven't changed. I haven't engaged anymore. I haven't reached out and said, Billy, I want to do a show because of quarantine. I haven't changed. I just gave back and gave and gave. And I came back off El Paso 11-hour signing. Came back off Phoenix 11-hour signing. I'll have people come in and go, bro, I don't got money. I'm like, I don't care. What do you want me to sign? Let's take a picture, because I need that, the mental blessings. I count the blessings, not the financial of it. And at least I speak for myself. So we've done, it's the app where you take a number,
yep,
you get a number from the shop, and you just disappear. You can go away, shop, eat, stay home. And then when your number's called up, then you can come up, meet. I don't care if you have money, you've got stuff bringing. So it's very smart and strategic that this is the way that I think any con should be. If you're waiting in line, which New York is a record, 9-hour, 10-hour long lines that I have, you're waiting in line. Why not release everybody? Stampede in the gorge.
Right.
Release everybody.
Right.
Let them go buy pops. Let them eat and then come back. The problem is it doesn't work with a lot of actors, because I've been blessed and I've gone up against every single top actor and I've dominated the market, but I'm not taking credit for that. It's not me. It's you. I got the best fans in the world, the most aggressive, hardcore JDF fans, which again, and I'll let you ask questions. I'm talking the whole time. I got, the JDF Spoken Truth. I do poetry. I got the new movie Legend of the White Dragon, working with Bat and the Sun. Anyway, that's kind of somewhat of a storyline. Now, I'll shut up. I'll let you ask some questions.
Okay. No, I mean, you answered a ton of my questions that I had. So I do have some cool stuff I do want to talk to you about. This is something I found out about you recently. And, as I mentioned, you are one of my heroes. And we both ride Harleys.
Yeah.
Yeah. What kind of bike do you ride?
Well, I have it's funny because I put about 10,000 miles into the PPP program. I traveled around. I have a travel bike. I have a Harley Limited, a 2018 Limited that's, fully equipped with touring pack, everything that I need to be on the road. Because as you know, putting in 10,000 miles in 2 months, going from show to show, not knowing the weather, saying I'm leaving Houston, I'm going to Louisiana, I'm going to Alabama, I'm going to Mississippi, Memphis, Tennessee. I did this whole loop on a bike. But my bike that I had that I still have is like a Softail, 2000 Softail.
Okay.
And I have a 1976 bobber, which is with suicide shift. So I have that, which I absolutely love it. It's a 4-speed. And then I have a Fat Boy. I have a Fat Boy S. I just got a 2016. Absolutely love it. It's a 110. It's super fast. It's fun. And then your guys are gonna like what I call the Green Ranger bike. It's my dad has a pan shovel that he's had sitting in his garage for a very long time. And when my mom passed away about 3 years ago, in which my brother played David Trueheart, he passed away 18 years ago. Don't be sorry, don't be sad. He's looking down right now as David Trueheart. He kind of quit the show a little bit, but that's another story. But the pan shovel Harley is all done up, painted up. It's got all the Green Ranger logos, even has the Green Ranger suicide shifter. It's going to be a show bike. That's a bike that I'm probably just going to show fans. So in the Legend of the White Dragon, and I'm sure we'll talk about, but my character, I took over my brother's name, Eric, spelled with a K, Eric Reed, and my character's got tattoos. He's all tattooed up. The storyline is great, and he rides a Harley. So it's like it's super cool. But yeah, so we could ride together one day, Billy.
That would be awesome. I ride a Night Ride Special 2008. Before that, I had a 2018 Road King.
Nice.
The reason I got the night ride, I'm gonna share a story with you, is because when I was 18 or 19, I was pretty young. It was like the first model year of the night rods, of the V rods. And I go in a Harley dealership. I'm all psyched, and the V Rod is like the coolest bike. I'm like, this looks like something out of the future. This is what Harley is going to look like 20 years from now. But here it is. And I'm talking to the Harley salesman, and the guy's like, you don't want that bike. And I'm like, well, why don't I want this bike? It's the coolest motorcycle I've ever seen. He's like, you can't handle that bike. You don't want that. And so I was like, all right, one day I'm going to have that bike. And so I have that bike now, and it's the coolest.
That's awesome, man. And there's nothing better than feeling riding and getting out of your head. And that's why when I did the PPP program, I wasn't flying everywhere. I did Dallas. I do all local shows. Guys, I've been to Dallas 7 times, and every time I come back, I'm blessed with more fans and more fans, because it's kind of like that. I promote it, catch me while you can. We miss you. They tell fans. So I figure riding the bike during quarantine and all this stuff would just give me freedom and feeling like in the air, instead of putting 700,000 miles on an airplane that I have currently with United. Why not just put 10,000 miles on my bike?
Right.
Pull up. I'm not wearing a suit. Pull up. Not wearing a chain. Just happened to be today. Pull up on a motorcycle, sign, make people happy, get the blessings, jump on, head to the next destination. And it's been a really good blessing for me during the PPP. We've donated over $85,000 in merchandise, raised over $30,000 in cash. And there's no one that, this cash, we send them the money and they fill out paperwork. But there's no one that's ever really do that, even including Comic-Cons. And I don't mind going my own way and being my own boss and holding my standards really high. When you see me and I'm full of energy, I have a motto. You teach till the last fan standing. And what that means is that you have to be just energetic to the 1,000th person you met than the first. Because I would hate to be number 999 and come up and be like, oh, super tired, bro. What's your favorite color? You already asked me that, 1,000 times. So having the longevity in Comic-Cons, and now everyone's doing them, but having the longevity in Comic-Cons, doing hundreds of them and, hundreds of episodes, you have to have good work ethics. But at the same time, you've got to go into it with the mindset of the P's: purpose, passion, patience, not profit. And so when I walked out of that room for Turbo, I tell people I left Turbo. I was already the Red Ranger. No one offered anyone the role of Red Ranger. Tommy was Tommy. If not, Tommy would have been almost every color if I stayed. The reason why they changed the seasons after a while is because every year they would get a new cast, and every cast would be like, it's so hard to work with Saban. It's ridiculous. It's, the money, and they complain. So they change it every year. So the people that become cast members, it's called limerence. You're so excited from 6 to 18 months. By the time you complain where your trailer is, we're on to the next season. Right. And I think maybe that's their way of not having power, because a lot of people had power on the show. But I'm going to promise you right now, and everyone watching, this is the truth. If everyone left the show, Haim Saban and Hasbro, they still think of us as helmet heads. They don't look at us as our characters. If they did the movie with proper characters and putting characters and tying it in like Luke Skywalker, or how about this, Hasbro, Cobra Kai. If you tied in some of the original Rangers, it would have made sense, but they don't. Unfortunately, they just look at you as a helmet head. And so everyone would have been gone.
Right.
They would have just recasted everybody. We wouldn't have forced them to do anything. I don't care what anyone says. That wouldn't have happened. To this day, Hasbro don't even reach out and even say anything to me like, hey, I paid for that Lord Draken thing. We did that. We tried showing them there's a pilot. Nothing happened. Hasbro's never patted anyone on the back. So that's why when me and Bat and the Sun got together years ago, Aaron did a very bold move, which he changed the Green Ranger costume. And when he showed it to me, I was like, painting gold and doing this, changing it. But that dominated the cosplay market. I couldn't believe it. I just did that for free. We did Scorpion for free. I did Ninjak. Bat and the Sun has this way of reaching out to people. These are our age group with content, and that's why Legend of the White Dragon is going to be our content. Sorry, Billy, your content. I'm older. I'm 47, but it's going to reach out to the darker, the grittier, and we actually own the IP. And when we did it before, it wasn't the way we should have done it, because we kind of tied it in like a Hasbro thing, like here's Tommy Aftermath, and we didn't like the story. So we went back, we revisited it, we changed the whole thing. Some people couldn't do it because of scheduling conflicts or whatnot, but we're moving forward, and it's going great. And I'm so excited about that project, The Legend of the White Dragon. But anyway, I kind of have ADD, so I'm a little distracted.
No, you're doing awesome.
Right.
But I did promise Nicole I wouldn't keep you too much longer.
No, I know.
So I have two more things for you. So we call this the Coliseum Forum lightning round. So I'm going to hit you with a question, and you just answer with the first thing that comes to mind. All right?
Okay.
So favorite TV show that's not Power Rangers?
Knight Rider.
Favorite movie that's not Power Rangers?
Donnie Brasco.
Favorite martial artist that's not Jason David Frank?
Chuck Norris.
Favorite food?
What is it?
Favorite food?
Mexican.
And then last but not least, what is your all-time favorite costume that you've worn so far?
I would say the Green Ranger Superpower Beatdown costume.
That was good.
But outside of that, Bloodshot. I really enjoyed being Bloodshot. I was the first Bloodshot. I was the first emissary in Transformers. I loved being the first thing. I really loved Bloodshot. So I love the Superpower Beatdown costume for these reasons. Sure. It was upgraded. It felt solid. I had armor. I had, the pads. So I really love that. I love the look of it. If you have to see the helmet up close, Billy, to really appreciate the details, because it's actually painted with real gold flakes, like real gold flakes on it. So you got to see it in costume on that. I mean, you got to see it in person. So
with that said, we talked about this earlier in the show. Jason David Frank's Power Rangers Protection Act. We actually had a few people ask about this during the stream, asking when you were coming to Florida. Honestly, I mean, we've been talking for almost an hour, and I could talk to you for 3 more hours. So
God, I can talk to you about I need a nutshell of the Legend of the White Dragon just a little bit. Just
absolutely.
For y'all, but we did talk. Like I said, I didn't expect when I reached out to you. I just wanted to give you a great interview. I think you're great with the fans. I think, we all just need to go back to Angel Grove. We all need to come together at Power Morphicon, do a panel. I'm up for all of that, doing a panel with everybody.
So when you say everybody, it's like David Yost and Walter Jones and Amy Jo. And
everybody I worked with and people that I even haven't worked. I mean, I would like to see MMPR. There's a lot of times that, look, I'm the actor that has the most social media followings. It's not gonna, I'm not there to hurt or do anything. If anything, I'm gonna help. But it's the fans. It's more pleasing the fans. That's what I'm looking at. I'm not looking at numbers, social media. I'm just looking at pleasing the fans. There are some questions out there that are unanswered. I don't have beef with anyone. I've tried reaching out to people, including Austin. We just need to like wash hands and move forward. I'm 47 years old. It's we were high school teenagers. We're not in high school no more. You know what I mean? And it's one of those things where I just all want it to be Angel Grove again, but have everyone look at it as one thing. Forget looking about the money, what you can pay me. Look at it as the fans. In fact, if y'all just want to get together and do one big panel for charity, we could raise a lot of money. Let's just put all the money aside. Let's all originally get together and say, hey, here's the charity fund. Here's your ticket that you have to buy to raise for charity, and raise money on charity. It'd be the biggest charity raising event of all times. And I'm just throwing it out there. So anytime anyone wants to hit me up and put this, I'm totally down for it.
I personally volunteer to moderate that forum. I have some experience.
So, but the difficulty, Billy, is you're going to have is putting it together. And that's the problem. And that's why, like, for myself and my character, and for me as a person, I put everything aside. I put egos aside. I put everything. I have so much to talk to you about martial arts. I got so much to talk to you. But I did promise my fans, I'm going to touch base. I have to go quick. But
yeah.
Legend of the White Dragon, I play Eric Reed. I was a superhero. I'm basically on the run now because I was kind of framed for something that I really didn't really do. I have a team of people, Font, Rachel, and a bunch of people that helped me get this crystal that was broken in half to defeat basically the bad guy Dragon Prime. But in the beginning of the movie, we have a certain surprise. The beginning of the movie almost ends like the end of the movie. But we have Dragon Prime, which is played by Aaron, and we battle each other. So I try to get the crystal, but my character Eric is, his family stole these. I think I'm going to build my character. These tattoos. I'm breaking the image of Tommy. I'm going to be this guy who has problems, man. Like, he was a superhero. He's been framed. He's a little messed up. He's got to find himself. He's got to find who he is and find his powers and reunite with the team. And I got a great cast member. I mean, Jason Font is going to be my side man for this. He's the guy in the movie that's going to bring Eric Reed to life, to say, Eric, you have the blood of a superhero, man. This is something you need to do. The crystals are broken in half. We have to charge the crystals. So much action. King Bash fits perfect in this movie. Some people go, he's a comedy guy. His role is unbelievable. We already started shooting with him. We're going to finish the project in January. And all I'm looking at for Legend of the White Dragon from day one is the P's. I don't need to say it again. Purpose, passion, and patience. And maybe one day it'll be profit. Maybe one day Hasbro will call me and Aaron and we go, I don't know. But it's time to give something for the fans. And we're not replacing Power Rangers. We're not replacing Power Rangers. It's in Japan, they have seasons of Power Rangers that aren't Power Rangers. So We're like the first in America that's actually going to be not Guyver, not Masked Rider and VR Troopers and all these tons of Power Rangers ish from Japan. We're the American team.
Right.
We're the one that's going to build a whole new universe here in the United States, not Japan. And that's the Legend of the White Dragon. I'm telling you, we got Catherine in it. My daughter Jenna's in it. It's just a great cast and a good story. And Billy, I'm always down to always come on your show and pick a specific topic and say, we're going to talk about your martial arts. We're going to talk about your tattoos. Because as you know, and I'm sure Nicole told you, I talk a lot, but that's because I'm very passionate about what I do. And I can't just come in and out. So and I want to give you guys everything. So I'm always happy to come back to the show. But we did talk about signing.
So let's do this. So we have the PPP.
Tell the fans what we talked a little bit about.
Right. We have the PPP. You and I talked a little bit about that. How about instead of doing Coliseum Forum again, how about you come visit us in February and we'll just do this in person?
Dude, I love it. I love the idea. We definitely can make it. We got opening schedules. We talked about that.
Yep. Everybody
watching here on YouTube, and I'm going to repost this link too. I'm going to see you guys in February. That's 100%. We're going to do the safe way. Guys, super safe during this time. Take a number, head out, do whatever you got to do, and come back. And let's have this 6-foot social distancing, because the computer is cool, Billy, but one thing I can't feel through the computer, I can see it in your eyes. I can see your excitement, but I can't feel the vibe.
Right.
And when you got two people together and 6 feet apart with the mask, it doesn't matter. You got a mask on, you just feel the vibe and the energy and the happiness in people's eyes. But you're going to feel it from me. I feed off your energy. And so I definitely want to be there in February and definitely want to get this thing going.
So you guys heard it here first. Jason David Frank will be in Florida in February. He is going to swing by Coliseum. You guys, thanks for tuning in tonight to Coliseum Forum for Jason David Frank. But in February, please come meet him in person. I'm more than excited. My wife even already told me, she's like, if he comes, I am going to meet him. That is my first crush. And I'm just like, oh, Jesus. Yes.
Definitely want to be there. Billy, but on the count of 3, we have to go like this. It's morphin' time.
Oh, can we do the whole, actually, this is the way I wanted to do this out. Can you do the morph, you morph, and then I morph? Because I keep telling my kids I'm a Power Ranger, they don't believe me. Can you please tell Abraham and Leonardo I'm fine?
I'm gonna say it's morphin' time. I'm gonna take Dragon Zord, and you need to take another Zord.
I've got my own. It's the Megalodon.
Okay, all right. When I say ready, you say ready, and I say it's morphin' time. I'll say my powers, you say your powers. Okay. Ready. It's morphin' time. Dragon Zord.
Megalodon.
Yeah. All right, buddy.
Yeah, I've been practicing that for like 27 years.
For watching too. If you guys are ever in Shreveport, Louisiana, you need to see my guy, 13 Dagger James. He's done all my work, and we're gonna have to come back on a show, Billy, and talk about all my tattoos. A lot of history.
I got a few of them too.
Perfect.
Yeah. Jason, again, thank you so much for doing Coliseum Forum. I can't wait to meet you in February. Guys, thank you so much for tuning into the Coliseum Forum, and we will see you guys next time.
All right. Thank you, guys.